It may seem that I've focused on more political things lately, but I only find that necessary to do on this podcast when it's in regards to what may be affecting our mental health. My intention isn't just to be political at all, but more to draw attention to what we may be feeling. It has nothing to do with an election and everything to do with making sure our mental state is in a good place, and I know it's been a hard time for a lot of people. I encourage you all to better yourselves and advocate for the better of humanity. But things may get so heated that you may not take the time to ask yourself, am I doing this for the good of others, or am I doing this so that others think that I am a good person? Am I taking steps toward fixing the problem at hand to the best of my abilities, or could I be stuck taking steps backwards? Have I actually checked up on the people in my life that I say I am an ally for? I'm lucky to have a friend in my life named Wallace who approached me about some things that were bothering him and trusted me enough to talk about it on Fake Therapy. I am so grateful for people like him, and I hope you enjoy our conversation as much as I did. Thank you. Hey everybody, thanks for tuning back into another episode of Fake Therapy. Today I welcome back a dear friend by the name of Wallace. Hi.
What's up?
It's
Hi.
good to have you back. If you guys
Thank you.
don't remember, Andre was on the very first episode of Fake Therapy ever.
I was.
And
I'm not no newcomer to this, you know what I mean?
No, and what a great episode. A fan favorite, I would say. And one of my favorites as well.
I love it. It's great.
Cool. Last time, I think you were here right before you were about to move away, right?
Yeah, a few months, I think.
And
I
now
don't even know the last time I've been there. Like, it's been so long.
Yeah, it was like in June or July of like last year. It's been a hot minute.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's crazy.
Time is going by so swiftly and so much has changed. You live in a whole different place now.
Yeah, I'm living in Kentucky. It's pretty much the same people, but it's great.
That's
I
cool.
love it here. I mean, it's nature-wise, I love it here. People are kind of hit or miss, but
Really?
it's great. Yeah, I live in a very, like, conservative area where it's pretty much basically Panama City, but more Kentuckian.
At least you have the proper survival skills.
Yes, I do. Yeah, I do. If you go, like, right outside the town, it's very, like, liberal, though. But
That's cool.
where I live, it's very conservative.
I mean, even something just like a different setting can make all the difference, you know?
Yeah.
Just
I love
something
it here. I don't
different.
care about people, so.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest.
I mean, same since like I've lived away from Panama City. I like don't really engage with many people other than like jabbing, really. I mean,
Yeah.
sometimes, but I don't know. I can go
That's
without people
practically me.
too a little bit.
Yeah. And I'll talk to him at, like, the gas station or whatever, but, like, other than that, like,
When you absolutely
people at
have
my
to.
job, but,
Yeah,
yeah, that's really it. I don't care about people that much.
I feel you. I think it's like an adult thing though to like need to have friends around you as much. But you still need
Yeah.
it, Andre. We still need to
Yeah,
like have our
for
friends
sure.
and stuff.
No, I'm cutting them out. Dan, if you listen to this,
Yeah.
gone.
Social interaction is good. We'll keep a little bit. But
Yeah.
I'm glad to see you happy and like switching it up, dude. I mean, I haven't seen you in a long time, but I keep up with you through social media and stuff, and it seems
Yeah.
like you are just like you really have it together. You have a very beautiful grown-ass woman girlfriend.
Grown ass woman girlfriend who's taller than me. She's real grown. She's
Ooh.
taller than me. You know what I mean?
Ooh.
5'11" or something like that. She's grown, you know?
Oof,
That's
model
what I'm
height.
saying. That's what I'm saying.
That's awesome. I definitely want to meet her if you guys ever come through. Or if I come into your direction. Maybe I should.
They should. She's great.
That's sick.
I started a brand. That's a thing.
I saw
I'm just doing
that.
stuff.
What is that about?
It's based around, like, promotional bootleg shirts for, like, music and, like, movies and video games and stuff like that.
Cool. I saw.
It's called Mask of Truth. Yeah.
Oh, I saw you post like the Marilyn Manson hoodie.
Yeah, I made that for my girlfriend actually.
Do you have more? I want one.
I haven't. They're pre-ordered right now, so I can send you the link if you want to buy it. I'll just give you a discount code. But
Cool.
I think I send them off next week to be printed, so
Sick.
they're up until next Saturday.
That's awesome. Doing creative shit? That's awesome, dude.
I know. I need some creative outlet somewhere.
Yeah, it's definitely important, especially with like everything going on and shit. I don't know.
Yeah,
I feel
for
like
sure.
that's very vague, but at the same time, like people know what I'm talking about when I say that. This year
Yeah, no,
in
I
general
agree.
has just been like the craziest fucking year as far as just like everything going on. Like there's just so much going on.
For sure.
And I don't want to be negative, but it seems like it's like a lot of bad shit.
It is a lot of bad shit. In very different aspects too, like
Yeah.
COVID, that's a whole thing, which I don't want to get into all that, but that's a whole thing.
Yeah, it's a whole another conversation for sure. I'm fucking, yeah, I wish that it would go away. I'm sick of it.
Yeah.
feel
I
like
wish
it's
people
holding
would
me
wear
back.
masks.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I feel like I've talked about it enough, and like people are sick of me even talking about it.
Yeah, that's why I said let's just.
They're like, Maria, shut up about the fucking mask. We just want to like, pretend it doesn't exist. And I'm with you. I want to pretend like it doesn't exist too. You know, I really want it to be over. But whatever. Like,
Yeah, we'll leave that over there.
2020 has been testing us, honestly. It really has.
Yeah,
A year of
it
bad
has.
shit. And like having to deal and endure like different reactions to different events and how these events have like changed people and seeing how people like what people do about certain things that makes you see people in a different light almost. Like
Yeah,
not
for
only
sure.
are we witnessing really terrible crazy things happening, but it's like seeing what it does to our friends and our family. That's the whole other really difficult thing.
Yeah,
I'm glad that you had come to me about the topic of what we're going to talk to today, because I probably really couldn't do it on my own just because of like who I am. And I shouldn't, we talked about this too, like, even though I think it's like important there and like really significant, there's only so much that I could say before I'm like talking for other people, which you
Yeah.
should not do. Some people are doing
No.
it though. There are people that
a
are
lot of
doing it.
people. There's a lot of people doing it. I think there's probably more people doing it than not doing it. So
That's so bad.
yeah, it's terrible, but it is what it is, you know.
Yeah, but at the same time, if you take the time to listen to a friend who maybe has a closer experience or a more accurate perception of what's going on that could relate to it more accurately, that could just be that more effective than being so loud with your opinion. I hope that I'm not being too vague. I hope that makes sense.
No, I get completely what you mean. I think people who have that whole mindset, they don't have people in their life like that. So I feel like, I'm just gonna be honest, they don't have black friends or people of color that are friends. So I think that without hearing that perspective of a person of color, they don't really understand what fully is going on, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So in the middle of fucking COVID, everyone freaking out, having opinions about that, the whole George Floyd horrible incident occurred.
Yeah.
The video came out, and everybody was talking about it. Everybody. And I feel like almost like you had to say something. People felt like they had to say something.
Yeah.
Why do you think
And
that is?
I think with coronavirus and everybody quarantining, I feel like the last two that happened, I feel like it really forced people to see it regardless if they wanted to or didn't want to, because everybody's on their phone at home. So it was kind of, you had to see it regardless if you wanted to or didn't want to. And I think that's what caused a lot of the people who usually don't care about any of this stuff to really get upset about it. And I mean, from what I've noticed a lot of people, this is probably, they're new to this. They don't know what any of this means. And now that they're finally seeing a very small glimpse of what's actually going on, they're getting completely enraged about it, which it makes sense. But a lot of people ignore this stuff until like now because you're forced to see it, which is good, but it's also not. In different aspects I want to talk about as well.
Yeah, a very small glimpse. You're right. It's like something that happens all the time, and this is just one instance of it being caught on tape.
Yeah, for sure.
I think too, like there was some part of me that was kind of surprised that things like this happen to this extent. Like, of course, racism is still alive. Of course, like there are fucked up cops, but like to this extent, I was one of those people that was like in tears over it.
Yeah. It's a very sad situation. I mean, it's happened, I've seen it multiple times, but I'm black, and I've been keeping up with this stuff. But, people, I feel like with this situation, it's not like the other ones. Regardless where you stand, I think there's a lot of blame that gets placed that shouldn't. But in this situation, there's not really much blame that they could place on George Floyd himself. So I think seeing that and really being forced to see it, that really sparks something in their mind, which is good, but it's also bad because how they resulted in doing stuff with that. So
what part of it is good, do you think?
I think it's good that they're not paying attention to it. I think the way they're paying attention to it and the way they're responding isn't good.
What responses are bad?
I think people speak on it as if they've lived it, or they know what they're talking about, but they don't really know what they're talking about. And then as far as going to protest and smashing buildings and smashing cars and burning stuff and doing all that, like there's been pictures of cops that place bricks on, in front of buildings, and then they go and smash it, which that just comes back on black people instead of what it should be. But I get being mad, but that's not the way to go about it, regardless what race you are.
Yeah, I get that too. And I understand like it coming back on black people in a poor light, because I do hear people that are like, like, see, this is exactly what we're talking about. They're violent. They're being so violent. Yeah. And it's like, fuck. It seems like a step backwards.
Yeah, it's pushed the whole thug agenda towards that crowd way more because the news puts on black people. They're not going to put on white people smashing buildings because that's not going to give them a click. So they're always going to have black people in those videos. And, even if you go on Twitter, you see all these white people smashing buildings and burning buildings. But on the actual news, it's nothing about black people.
Yeah. And, like, how does it make you feel when, like, it's the white people that are the ones that are, like, smashing and are, like, going crazy?
When it first happened, I was very mad about it.
Yeah.
It's. I mean, I'm still mad about it, but I'm not as mad about it as I was. But it's just ignorant, and I mean, I'm used to getting a bad light in media, but if you watch any video, you hear black people saying like, don't do that, but they just keep doing it. I have a lot of friends that I just tell them like, hey, if you are going to protest, because I know like in Louisville, I have a lot of friends over there. I'm like, don't do that stuff. Like, just go there, be peaceful. Don't do any of it because it's going to come back on us regardless what you do.
So what is your initial reaction to it like?
To the violence or just in general?
To like specifically people that are not of color using it as an excuse to violently protest.
I think there's two different sides of it. Like, when I saw people like cosplaying as like the Joker, that's just fucking weird to me.
What?
Yeah, there's people like going to protest with like Joker costumes. That's just weird to me, but like...
Yeah, that's like a different agenda. Like, what?
Yeah,
the Joker shit? What the fuck?
It's weird, yeah.
Okay.
It was on Twitter for a while, but yeah, it's weird. But like, as far as like just people like burning shit, and I feel like that's just a completely another agenda of like the ACAB bullshit, but yeah, it's weird.
I hate to see people that are waiting around for something to uproar and be violent about, and they're like, okay, I'll just grab this, even though they don't genuinely care about it. They just want to like act up. And then it like gives a bad impression that the people that do care about it and want to really advocate for BLM and this particular movement, that all they want to do is act up. And that's not the case.
Yeah. It's just weird. The whole, I mean, with the Joker and all of its side, it's just weird. It's just to push different agendas, really. And I just hate that they use that as the reason to do it.
Yeah. And I think that there's some people, too, that are like, I'm doing this for my black friends. I'm doing this for black people. Yeah. But, I mean, like you said, a lot of your black friends and yourself advise that you don't want to see stuff like that.
Yeah. And I know there is black people that think that is the answer as well. So, I mean, I don't want to make it about just white people doing it, because there are black people doing it. But just from, like, what I've seen, like, in actual, away from news footage, it's way more white people. Especially this way around. Like, when I saw, like, the Trayvon Martin case, there was way more black people than white people, I think, because quarantine, they want something to do, and just, you know, not be inside all day. They kind of use that as a reason to go out and protest, too.
Yeah, just like a restlessness.
Yeah, but there was a lot more white people out during all of this than usual. It was kind of weird, but it's good, I guess.
Do you think that just because, like, a lot of people are bored? Or, too, like, we're in a day of, like, where wokeness is, like, it's, like, a thing that you have to be. Or, like, there's a pressure to be, like, so woke. Or, like, who is the wokest? I'm woker than you. No, they're woker than you. Like, oh, my God, you didn't know that? Like, what the fuck? You're not as woke as you said you were. Like,
it's weird.
I feel
none of them really are either, which is a funny thing.
That has a lot to do with it, and that's like the trend right now. Which I don't want to make it seem like I'm trying to discourage people from being good people. That's not the case. But like, you genuinely have to feel that, and like also, when you're not on a computer, like implement that in your real life. I feel like a lot of this is like very social media driven and very for like your own look almost.
Yeah, I feel like if you post pictures of you at protests on Instagram, it's definitely not for the right reason, you know? Like, I'll see people at, like, protests doing, like, this, and I'm like, no. But yeah, that's fake woke. If you're, like, you know, actively going to protests and not posting it on your story, or, like, pictures of you at protests, which is just weird, then, you know, I feel like you have the right mindset, if that makes sense. But I mean, I feel like if you're posting it to be like, I went to a protest today, then that's just weird.
Yeah. And then you see people too that are like, I can't believe you didn't say anything, or I can't believe you didn't post anything about this. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And maybe
which
that
people
too,
have actually.
No, go on.
People have actually said that to me, not like directly,
shit, really?
but. Not directly, but indirectly, I know they were talking about me. And I'm like, bro, first of all...
What do you mean? Explain the situation. Explain the situation.
So, there was a person from our town who was going off about people who used to really care about this, which I don't think they were necessarily targeting me specifically, but they were saying that all these people in town who used to go to protest and... you know, move elsewhere and they become completely different people, or they don't care about people. And I'm like, maybe it wasn't about me specifically, but I mean, I was like, who else moved away from town?
Oh, okay.
That went to the one Black Lives Matter protest in our town, you know?
Okay.
Which, there's only like 3 people I can think about, which I think they were targeting all 3 of those people, but I don't know.
Yeah. And then there was also, too, like, this reprimand if you, like, posted anything else besides. Which, I mean, if it's something that's always been going on, and, like, you guys didn't say anything about all the other times, and now, just because it's, like, more of, like, the trend to, like, prove how woke you are, and now you're saying something, and now you're, like, getting mad at me because I'm not saying anything, when in real life, I've always cared about these things, and you're only doing it now, and now you're, like, trying to call me out.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't feel like anybody should be calling out how people are speaking about things. You don't know what people do outside of the internet, so...
Yeah, exactly. It's not all the internet, dude. Seriously.
Yeah. I don't even really like posting stuff on the internet anymore. So, I mean, like... But in person, I talk about it. With my friends, I talk about it. Like... I'm not going to just go and post stuff just to post it. You know what I mean? But if it's something I feel is useful, I'm very weird on my social media. I really do it to like promote either my projects or to use it as a learning experience for people as far as like Facebook or stuff like that. So like if I find like an article that I feel like people should read and that will somehow change their mind, then I'll share it. But like other than that, like it's just the same that everybody else is sharing. I don't like doing that.
Yeah,
which is weird.
That's
maybe,
true.
but,
yeah. And I mean,
yeah.
You could show support in other ways, like you said. You could like other people's stuff that they're posting, or you could actually donate money, or you could actually like have genuine conversations with people in real life.
You can do that?
Yeah. I heard that you could still do that, dude.
That's crazy.
Yeah, we need
That's
to, like,
really crazy.
We need to spread the word. But yeah, I don't know. It's just like so much of a competition, like that makes it so ingenuine.
Yeah, it's very weird. There's a lot of weird stuff that I've just been looking on the sidelines, and I'm like, that's why I really asked you, like, do you want to do this? Because it's just like looking at it all from the side, and like, I've been just wanting to get on the point where I'm just like calling people out, but I'm not really about that. So I'm just like, I've thought about it though.
What did you say
like,
to that person that? Did you say anything to the person that was like, I love how like these people that used to care don't care anymore? Did you say anything?
I did comment on. I was like, you have to realize that not everybody does this on the internet.
Yeah.
Which I wasn't trying to jab or anything, but like there's more than just posting something on the internet. Just because someone's not posting something on one social media platform doesn't mean that they're not talking about it all.
Yeah. What did they say?
They reacted and was like, "Oh, it's not like that." I was like, "Bro, you're backpedaling so hard." Like,
yeah,
don't
definitely.
go on that and then backpedal.
Yeah, they should have just been like, "Yeah, you're right," or like, "Oh, I didn't think about that," which is honestly needs to have a true self-evaluation. Am I too indulged in the internet? Am I too indulged in like the social pressures of my internet presence? And I feel like I had given into that a little bit too, like where I was like, okay, I do have to say something. If I don't say something, people are going to think I'm a horrible person, or they're going to think that I need to be canceled or some shit, or like they won't want to like support me or like be my friend or want anything to do with me, especially because it seemed like everyone was doing it. And it's just like it's like a social pressure that's very negative and very toxic. It can be. I get that it's for a great cause and we want to get everyone on the same page, but it's like it's become toxic in some ways.
It's very weird. It is very toxic, and I feel like a lot of it is some weird inner something it's boosting something in their ego, which I don't know why. I don't know if it's just because where they're raised or how they were raised. Now it's like a big like fuck you to them or like what, but it's just like this weird ego they have now that they have to be this woke person for their own personal gain or for likes or something. It's weird. I don't know, but
yeah, my God,
I just don't know. Like, get how you could be woke for like other people. That just doesn't make sense to me.
Really? Expand.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Like, a lot of people, they post like this kind of stuff that we're talking about today they think they're doing it for just to be woke or whatever, but realistically they're doing it for themselves to seem like a good person to other people, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, that's literally exactly what I was talking about, honestly.
Yeah. It's just, I don't get how you can have that mindset to post something to please other people in that aspect, which is weird. I just don't get that.
Yeah. It's such a fucking mindfuck, dude.
Yeah, it's weird. Which I know social media plays in heavy on that, but I don't understand that whatsoever.
Yeah, it just needs a major step back and like, okay, what is really going on? Am I actually helping, or am I just making people feel bad and discouraging people and trying to make them, I don't know, something that they're not in a inorganic way? It's so inorganic.
Yeah. Like, I completely get reaching out to people and saying, hey, talking to people is a lot more helpful and it's going to change more than just yelling at them and calling them names. Like, that's not going to do anything at the end of the day. especially with people who are racist or who are very on the other side of things. If you just call them a bunch of names like a bigot and stuff like that, it's not going to change anything regarding to just talking to them.
Yeah, and then I think a lot of people that shout out those names are like, oh, like people are going to think that I'm the good guy because I like called that person out.
Yeah, and you just look just as ignorant.
I want to hear.
I love seeing people doing it. It's so funny to me.
I like have to step away. Like sometimes I have caught myself so indulged in it that I just need to like put my phone down. I need to get away from it. And that is bad too because then I'm like not seeing as much news. I'm discouraged from like keeping up with it because it gives me a feeling of like feeling so horrible and seeing everyone divide and not helping each other and like like I thought we're supposed to unite and like help each other, and it's just like another way to like differentiate. Oh, like I'm woke, you're not woke, I'm good, you're bad, and just like stereotype people and create more boxes for people.
Yeah, it's definitely tearing people apart a lot more. And I think a lot more people, like, they try to just point everything at, conservative and, like, right-wing people, but there's a lot of issues on the other side as well that they don't want to come to terms with.
Yeah, I mean, far left is a dangerous area, too. Don't get me
it
fucking wrong. I've seen it so horrible where I'm like, what? Like,
yeah.
What?
Yeah. Both, like, especially, like, as a black person, both sides affect black people heavily, so... if you really want to be a good ally, you need to learn about that side as well.
Yeah. Well, what are some instances where you have seen wokeness that you think is ingenuine and not progressive?
A lot of people that like just call out racist business owners or like racist people in general. I think we should definitely be calling people out that are on that spectrum, because that is that's obviously not needed in these times, but calling out just like not even talking to them and making a post and being like fuck this person because they said this thing or because they posted it instead of actually messaging them and talking to them. People that, like I said earlier, like that just post pictures of them at protests or like videotape themselves at protests doing stupid stuff, I think that's very ingenuine. The other thing that, with people posting on their stories is all the faces at protest. That can get a lot of people in trouble, and they don't realize that.
I think I like saw you say that, and I was like, oh shit, because I think I had
people
posted some video where like I didn't include what I looked like at the protest, but it was just like the surroundings of almost trying to like prove that it was a peaceful place. But two, I wasn't like, oh, like there could have been people's faces in that. I think it was like mainly the back of people's heads, and it was dark, but still, like, you're right. That could get people in trouble.
A lot of trouble. And I know in like bigger cities, especially in like Louisville, there's like cameras to see who's at protest, and if they get those people's names, they can just arrest them for basically nothing, or if they're, damaging buildings or whatever, that can come back on them. So, I feel like as these cameras are at the protest on stories and stuff like that, I feel like is a lot better, and it's going to end up with a lot better solution than having everybody's faces on camera and then posting it on Instagram or on Twitter and getting all these retweets. That's going to cause more traction towards those people.
For the retweets, dude. I gotta stay off Twitter, honestly. Like, it's a horrible place for me to be.
It is a horrible place. Mine's not that bad, but I follow... Mine's not that bad, but I follow... I have a very certain demographic of memes people I follow. That's really all I follow. I don't follow people that just post a bunch of stupid shit, but...
Yeah. Okay, here's an example. I have a friend with a Twitter, okay? And he has something that he promotes as his creative project. And he had these shirts that he was selling, okay? And he posted something on Twitter where he was like, we are going to be giving 50% of all these proceeds to Black Lives Matter organizations and bailout funds, blah, 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 blah. Like, that's great, right? Like, that's really awesome, right?
Yeah, I think that's definitely a good thing. And I think with people, I've seen a lot of people doing that. And I think when people necessarily, I wouldn't be okay with people saying what it's going to, but the fact that people said that,
Okay.
a lot more people wanted to donate towards it because they said it was going towards something.
But
so.
listen, the bad part was, I think, is that he was so upset because he got so much shit on Twitter saying, wow, I can't believe you're not donating 100%, you piece of shit, blah, 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 blah. Like, what?
Yeah, that's weird. I mean, I get it.
I don't know. I felt like, I was like, what? Like, don't let that make you feel bad. You're like, I feel like you're doing a good thing, and there are people that are not doing anything. So, like, don't let those Twitter people get you down. I feel like you're, like, putting in effort, and you shouldn't have somebody judge. I don't know. I felt like that was weird that he got backlash.
And even if you're donating like 15%, you're still donating something. What are they doing? Complaining on Twitter, not donating. So, I mean.
Yeah, I guess the moral of the story is someone's always going to complain, I guess.
Yeah, always. You could donate 100%. They're going to complain. Like, unfortunately, that's just how it is.
Yeah. Do you feel like people treat you different since this has gone on? Do you feel like people, like, want to prove something to you specifically?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. I've had people reach out to me just to, like, prove themselves to me.
I want to hear about that.
Okay, let me think about this. How am I going to go about this? So I've had people reach out to me and apologize how they've acted in the past. That is a good thing.
Like, in what
way? That people should do. Just people that, like, at bars who have said dumb stuff to me or, like, said ignorant stuff, which I don't remember. Like, the people that actually reached out to me, I don't remember any of the stuff they said, so it couldn't have been that significant.
What could they have possibly say?
I have no idea.
You just don't even remember. Okay.
Yeah, I literally don't remember it, but they were like, I apologize for how ignorant I was. I'm like, I don't know what you did, but okay, thank you. Like, that's a good thing to do. But I've also had people like, I got this Black Lives Matter tattoo, or like stuff like that, or like people are there just like, did you see the article I posted? I'm like, that's great.
They said, did you see the article I posted?
Yes. Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Like, yeah, there's no.
I don't know. I mean, I get you're trying to, like, educate people, but, I mean, you probably know that stuff. There shouldn't be a reason for them to be like, did you see the article I posted? Maybe they should, like, go to, like, someone that doesn't know about it and maybe be like, did you see this? Maybe you could read this because you seem like you need help.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, reaching out to a black person in general is just weird. Like, did you see the article I posted? Like, I don't care about your article, man. It's weird. I don't know. People at work will, like, mention it briefly to me, and I'm like, that's cool. They're like, are you going to the protest? I'm like, no, probably not. But, I mean, it's been fine. I think more of it's been on the other side of things. Like, I feel like it's been a lot more, like, going out in public, I've noticed a lot more people, like, looking at me differently. Especially if I'm with my girlfriend. Like, people are very weird here when I'm with my girlfriend at certain places because she's white. But people, you can tell they don't have a good look towards black people. Like, when I go to Walmart, in my area especially, it's a very white area, like a very conservative area. I'm usually the only black person there, and I've been there, and people have, like, patted their pockets.
Oh my God.
Or, like, held their purse closer. I'm like, bro, I don't care about your purse. Like, yeah, it's very weird, but I've seen it. It's a lot more loud than it usually has been in the past.
Really?
Which, yeah.
Because of this
ever
year,
since this has happened. I think a lot of it has pushed. And I think with election year coming back up, I think that's pushed a lot more people to be ignorant as well.
Equally as the woke people are more ignorant.
Yeah, people are a lot more ignorant.
Fuck.
There was like a Trump rally the other day, which that was a whole thing. But yeah, it's a lot more ignorant now.
Jeez. Because I guess, too,
I think the closer we get.
Yeah. And, like, with the woke people, too, like, people are like, no, it's this. People are acting like this. And, like, because they're so extreme, they're going to act so extreme. And it's just, like, two extremes.
Which is not good.
Yeah.
It's not good. especially when those two people clash. Like if they're in the same area, that's not going to go well. And like I saw some people in Portland or something. I don't know what they're called. It's like the something guys. I don't know what they're called. It's I guess like
Who
the
are they?
anti. What is the name? Someone will know who I'm talking about. But it's the basically they're wearing like helmets and they're like basically anti Black Lives Matter and they're going to protest to start trouble.
Oh,
It's a really stupid name. It's the something guys. The Proud Guys or something like
It's
that.
a whole group that's anti
Yeah, it's
Black
a
Lives Matter.
it's a group of
Okay.
people going to protest basically just to prove that they're there and that they're proud of being white or proud of being American. I think they're called the Proud Guys or something like
Proud
that.
guy.
They wear helmets. It's so stupid.
I need to look that up later. That's really weird.
Yeah,
Okay.
look at. I think it's called the Proud Guys. It's super big in like Portland right now.
Well, what do they do, and what happens to them? Like, wouldn't they get hurt?
I don't know. I don't know if people on the left side are like fighting them, but I know they're going to protest. Like some people have guns on that side. They have like brass knuckles and stuff. So I mean, I think they're definitely going to like start violence or hope that someone does do something to them, so that way they have a reason to either hit them or shoot them or whatever.
Oh God.
Yeah, and I know in Louisville, there's like a van that's driving around that has like a blacked out license plate, and I think they're trying to hit people, which hopefully it doesn't get to that point. But
Holy
yeah.
shit.
So with that, and then on top of the other side, Matt, it's not a good combination whatsoever.
Yeah. Oh my God. Have you had to like
That's
have that
crazy.
experience where you had to like pull a friend aside? I mean, these people are like, oh, like, especially the person that you were talking about before that was like, you know, these people that used to care that seem like they don't care anymore. Have you had to pull somebody aside and like kind of like talk some sort of sense in them if you felt like they were acting too extreme or being ignorant in a way? Have you had that experience before?
I haven't really talked to people like in this instance, like right now, but in the past I have had definitely to talk to people. I've talked to the same people like back then who were like super anti about it, and now they're like super about it, and they're like calling people out and stuff. And I'm like, you were not about this 4 years ago. But yeah, I mean, I've definitely had to do it in the past.
So
Yeah,
they've
it's
gone
weird.
completely anti to like being like a social media advocate.
Yeah,
That's what
like
you're
they're
saying.
like, yeah.
How did they display
So-
before that they were anti?
Well, this is gonna be the person, if they listen to this, they're gonna know what I'm talking about. But my old band had a song about Black Lives Matter, and they were not about that song.
They weren't
Like
about
they would
the
make
song?
it, they would like make a joke every time we played it.
What was the joke?
And now, like, oh, here goes that Black Lives Matter song,
what?
or something like that. And it's on video too of them saying it.
Why? Why?
I don't know. He was a very edgy person, but now he's like an advocate for like I'm so Black Lives Matter. I'm like, it's on video of you making this joke. So
But I would associate, but maybe because we're like in our modern day now, I would associate being edgy with like being for that. And like, I mean, that's kind of racist to make fun of that, right?
yeah, I mean, it pissed me off. Like even till today, it still pisses me off, especially how he's acting now. But you know, back then I did call him out on it. And I was like, that's not like cool, dude.
And you never got an apology from him?
Not really. It was like a half-assed apology, but
Well, that's so fucking weird.
yeah. Which, I mean, there's other people in the scene that have it a lot worse. Like, I'm very aware of, like, my culture and my surroundings, but, like, in Panama City, there's, like, 2 black people in the scene, and no one's checked on them, like, at all.
I remember
And
you saying that to me, and I was
Yeah.
like, that's so messed up.
It is. Especially that they have friends, and even their good friends aren't asking, like, how are you doing during this? But I feel like if people want to be better allies, they need to check on their black friends, because a lot of us aren't doing well right now mentally, so...
Check on your black. Yeah, that's one way to like directly help the black community is people that you actually know, checking on them, checking on their mental health. Because I'm sure, like, especially with all this going on, that like you directly have a lot to deal with. Like, I didn't know that, like, you were experiencing more ignorance and shit, and, like, people
Yeah.
clutching their purses and their pockets more around you. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I mean, it's even on my girlfriend. It's been hard for her because she's like worried if I'm not going to come home, and I have to be like, I am going to come home, but there's no, I
Oh my
can't willingly
god.
say that. But yeah, it's been hard.
Jeez
But yeah, I mean,
Louise.
just there's been so many protests here, like in Cincinnati, that it's possible it could happen, unfortunately. But I can't tell her that. What she's going to hear it on this, but
Yeah.
but
Gosh.
yeah.
Well, what else are you experiencing because of this? Like, mentally, how do you feel?
Just I mean when this first started with the George Floyd situation, I was very mad, and I do apologize to my girlfriend for that because I was really shitty towards her.
You were?
I
What do
was
you
just
mean?
I was just very mad about white people, basically, like anybody who was white. I feel like a lot of people of color have that in different aspects, especially when they start learning more about their culture. Like I know people who are Native American and they like are super anti-white, and then they come to the realization that that's not the way to be. But to some people, progress that's how they progress. But it's not the right way, and I just felt bad that that's the mindset I had during the time.
Yeah.
Um, just because all the stuff I was seeing, all the fake wokeness, I was super just pissed at white people. But um,
Yeah.
there was that,
I'm
and
sure it's
just
hard
being
not to be. Like, fuck.
yeah, it is. I mean, it is, and thankfully the people around me aren't like that at all. They've cared about this for a while. They're doing stuff about it, but just seeing the people that I used to, be friends with, or I used to be very close with, not being what I thought they were, I think that rubbed me the wrong way. And then also seeing like coworkers posting on Instagram and seeing like all this stupid shit all at once, I think it just exploded my mind, and it just made me very upset.
Yeah. Or these people that, like, didn't really show much interest before, it's now their identity.
Yeah, which is weird. And just I never thought that the government values black people, and that's the way that majority black people think right now, especially with Breonna Taylor, only one of the people got arrested. So it just keeps showing that black people have no value in America, and I think that's something that more recently it's kind of taken toll on me. But I'm trying to not have that mindset towards things, which I know it's basically true because there's a lot of institutions and a lot of things that keep black people down. But it is what it is. Hopefully that changes. But yeah, it's very fun.
Yeah. I mean, me too. Like, I guess I wasn't so indulged in, like, the brutal reality of it all. Like, obviously, I know that, like I said, there is racism and there's, like, shitty people, but, like, the fact that, like, with the whole Breonna Taylor thing, that these charges are for, like, the bullets that hit the apartment walls, and that's
Yeah,
what they're so focused on, and it's like the bullets that actually miss the person that died is
yeah,
what people are like, like jotting down in the notes. Like, that's shocking to me. And it's like,
yeah,
it's not as shocking to you because it's like something that you have been so aware of. And I'm hoping that that is, gonna progress to something positive later. I think people
I
are
really hope
waking
so.
up about it. They are waking up about it a little bit more. I'm waking up about it a little bit more, and I'm shocked by some things that other people are like, yeah, bitch, like, this is the reality of it. It's always been this
Yeah,
way. I just hope
which
it gets better.
I hope so too, and I'm very glad that people outside are seeing it for what it is. But the issue still is that the government's not going to do anything about it. There's so many people backing the government that it's not going to change for a very long time. And until those people inside the government and government officials and all state officials see what's going on and really change, that's when there's going to be change. I don't know if that's ever going to happen, at least in our generation.
Yeah, at least in our generation, for sure.
Yeah.
And it's like, what do we do
But
to change it? Do we get in there? Do we like what happens? It's like the people
yeah.
that think it's so horrible, though, they would never dream of being part of it. And it's like what changes it then if it's still the same shitty people that are interested in doing it?
Yeah. And I mean, I feel like there's a lot of people that, could get into political, science and get into politics or become state officials, but there's still things backing that they can become a government official. Same with like police. You can become a police officer and not make a difference, which that's not going to happen in the police force. But you can become a governor or become state representative and still not make a change just because all that's outside of that. And if you have one person who agrees with you, that doesn't mean that the rest of it's going to agree with you. So until that happens, unfortunately, there's not going to be that much change.
Yeah.
Which is sad.
God, it's
But
very
I mean, that's
sad.
something that I've known, since I've been in high school. And that's why, especially with people saying, you should vote, you have to vote to get the bad person out. But it doesn't matter who you vote for. It's not going to change, unfortunately. There's going to be good out of it. I don't want to say that. I don't want anyone coming after me, but there is definitely good on voting people out.
Vote.
But,
definitely vote, for sure.
Yeah, I'm not trying to say that. But but as far as black people go, there's so many institutions in place that it's not going to help right now.
Well, how do you
I feel
advocate in the right way when there are so many things that are like holding you back?
Myself,
Or just for anybody, like
or
what
just
do
in
you
general.
what do you advise anybody to do? These people that are like advocating in poor ways that are just for like social media and stuff like that, how should they replace bad behaviors with good ones?
I feel like trying to teach other people is not the way to go. You need to teach yourself about this stuff. I know a lot of people just now started caring about it, which means you don't have the knowledge to actually be telling other people about it. So watch documentaries, learn about all of it. There's so many institutions that keep black people down or Spanish people down. And until people really learn exactly how bad things are, they're not going to really come to an understanding, which I feel like white people have a very, very small glimpse right now of what the big scale of things is.
Yeah, because they haven't lived it, and there's no way that they will ever live it.
They won't.
Me either.
And
I will never live it. And I think
Yeah.
people too are like, oh, like Maria, you're a person of color. You can maybe understand. No.
Yeah.
It's totally
that's-
different.
That's something I've been thinking about too. I'm like, why is black people really the only person of color in America that have so many things to keep them down? Because like Mexicans have, like ICE and stuff like that. Not Mexicans specifically, but it mainly targets them. And then there's like, after 9/11, Muslims were heavily affected by that. But there's not things in place to really keep them down as there is for black people. Which that's something I'm still trying to keep my mind around, but I don't understand it.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely not unnoticed, for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely not.
It's very specific.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's out of fear or like this fucking superiority or just power or history.
Yeah.
Like, there's just so much. It's so complex.
Mm-hmm. Like, even if you look at the old signs of like people that can't drink out of water fountains, it's never saying like Mexicans or some type of racist towards them. It's always black people or Negroes or something on that line. So that's something I've never been able to wrap my head around, why it's just targeted towards black people specifically and not other races. There's so much that people don't know, and there's stuff that I still don't fully know and I can't wrap my head around. It's just until people really learn the whole circle of things that's going on, I don't think they should be telling other people stuff.
Yeah.
On what they should be and shouldn't be doing.
Yeah, and it's like, where did you get that information from?
Yeah.
Did you actually speak to like your black friend about it? Maybe not.
No, a lot of people don't. Like in Panama City again, like the people that they didn't search on, those are good people to go to ask these questions. A lot of them aren't very close with their culture, which that's okay. You got to learn on your own ends, but you could still, they're still black. They've still dealt with this shit. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with them not being towards their culture like I am, but, and if you don't talk to them at all, it's not going to help them go towards that culture either. And I think on both ends, both people need that. Because if a white person was the reason why I learned about my culture because of a teacher. So, I mean, everybody needs that person. And I think speaking to black people can cause them to go more towards their culture and learn about it. But it can also teach people on the other ends of what it is to be black and exactly show them the full grand scale of things as well.
Yeah.
I think it's important for both.
Yeah. Do you know
But I mean,
anybody
even
that
like,
was going through like a really hard time?
yeah, people, the one in the music scene, one of the people in it, you know him. I'm not going to say his name because I don't want to do that to him. But I talked to him and he was having a really hard time. He said that people were saying like racist shit to him, and he basically was like, I have to get off of social media because it's just so much. And I was really, really worried about him, but unfortunately I'm not there, so I can't like hang out with him or anything. But he just like thanked me a bunch of times for reaching out to him and just being about this shit because no one else reached out to him at all. So it breaks my heart. And, the fact that none of his friends even asked him, which his friends to me are not good people. They don't care
Really?
about him for what he is. To me, personally, that's what I think. I might be wrong, but I don't think his friends actually care about him being a black person at all. And that makes me sad.
You have those people too that are like, I don't see color, which is
Yeah.
problematic. Which is probably what
Or,
he experiences. Like people that are like his friend, but they don't acknowledge that, he is a black man that needs care, that needs attendance to, are you okay? Like, how are you feeling?
yeah. Or even like the whole, like, I have one black friend. He's that one black friend, and people even tag him in memes like that. I'm like, that's,
Oh my
you know,
God.
and in this year, man, like in middle school, maybe I get that, but like, we've moved on from that, don't, and that takes his self identity away. And, when he comes to terms with it, he's probably going to be the same person I was and hate white people completely. And, I completely get why those things happen, but I just don't want that to happen to him because it's not a good place to be.
Yeah. How do you even get out of that? Like you said at the beginning of, a lot of this uproar, a lot of the reactions to certain things made you kind of like resentful of people that weren't of color. Like, how do you bring yourself out of that?
It's just something you have to do yourself. Thankfully, my girlfriend called me out on the bullshit I did to her. Which, I mean, I'm very glad she did because she's not the type of person to do that. But
Wow.
if it
So you
wasn't for
know that it
that,
was that extreme that she had to pull herself
yeah,
out of
it,
her comfort zone to be like, Andre.
it was very bad. And I regret it that I did that. But I think that really pushed me to the fact that I do need to chill the fuck out.
Yeah. But everybody needs to chill the fuck out.
Yeah, I mean, completely. Definitely.
But not chill the fuck out, like not care, Like I don't want to make it
But I
seem
mean,
like you
they need
shouldn't
to not
care.
be so angry. I think the anger level needs to come down. You can care as much
Yeah,
as you want, but if
probably
that anger is
so.
there, then
Probably so to be actually be proactive, because the
yeah,
anger and aggression could scare a lot of people off and discourage
it can.
people and associate it with something negative and be like, I don't want to feel like horrible. I don't want to feel
Yeah.
like I'm like scared or like on tiptoes or, you know?
And I do have a lot of friends who they're trying to be better allies and trying to learn about it. And I think people seeing those angry people, they're wanting to gravitate towards that. And I'm really trying not to have them do that because it's not the way to go. I think really being at peace and really doing it on an inner level and learning yourself what you've done wrong, what you think is wrong, just really questioning, am I doing the right thing by doing this or am I doing things wrong? Did I do things wrong in the past? Apologizing to people, going that route, that's going to make a lot difference as a person. But if more than one people are doing that, if everybody continues to do that, then we'll become a better as a as a whole we'll become better than
Yeah.
just calling people out and saying fuck you because you're a racist person. It's not going to do anything.
Yeah. the call out culture of, like, you fucked up, so you're out forever. Like, that's someone that
Yeah.
we could have, like, possibly educated and, like, changed. I don't know. Is that naive of me to
Yeah.
think?
No, I agree with you. I agree with you. I think actually speaking about them, saying, hey, you did this wrong. You can do that. You're adults. You can talk about that. If you can't, then you need to grow up. But, just say, hey, you did this wrong, instead of saying, you're a big head, racist piece of shit. That's not going to do anything, like, and it makes you sound stupid too. Like,
Yeah.
conservatives have, a whole, like, joking thing about that, like the big man thing, or big head man, or whatever they say.
What do they say? Big
But
head?
they'll be like, you just, think I'm a stupid big head man. I don't know what the joke is, but it's always on the news.
I'm not up to date with the big head thing.
Or evil man. It's evil man. That's what it is.
Okay.
How they be like, Trump is an evil man.
Oh,
That
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
But yeah, because that's all they say. Like, it's a joke to them. And actually
Yeah.
speaking about what Trump is doing is wrong, or what they're doing is wrong, will make a lot big of a difference than just being like, he's a big evil man, like,
Yeah, like why? Some people are like don't understand why. You gotta kind of explain it more and go into
yeah,
detail. I mean, it takes some patience to like try to be that educator, and I totally understand that some people feel like it's not their job or their obligation to be that teacher for you. Like some people get mad and they're like, you should just know, but I mean, there are people that grow up different ways, or people that have different upbringings, different surroundings, that maybe that's all they know. And they could
yeah,
change, but they just need that change in their environment, and you could be that friend to like help them. I don't know.
yeah. And I think everybody needs that. And I see a lot of like, well, I was poor and I know how it is. I'm like, yes, to an extent you do have a better understanding of it, but just because you were poor doesn't mean that you have the same, you know, treatments or any of that. And I think if people with that thought actually spoke with people about, hey, what goes on in these communities, then that is more of a teaching than just being like, I'm a poor man and I know what it's like to be poor. And they can use that as a way to teach people on exactly what's going on. Because, like, my friend Tyler, he's from, he's been lived in the hood, he's lived in different communities, he's very knowledgeable of it because of that. And instead of, being like, I'm a poor man, he understands that he's still white and he doesn't get treated the same way. And he
Yeah.
uses that to talk to people about it instead of using it to be like, feel sorry for himself. And I really appreciate that he does that. And I feel
Yeah.
like that's how everybody should do it.
Because he could walk around outside somewhere else and people aren't going to assume that he's a poor man, as opposed to like, I mean, everyone knows when you're black, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just crazy.
It's such a weird thing. I mean, it's like there's so many things that people, like I said earlier, they have a very small glimpse of it, but there's so much more that goes on that they haven't learned about. Like, even down to the food that certain people have. People, like, if you go to the hood, there's usually McDonald's, there's usually gas stations, but there's not like a Whole Foods, or there's not
No way.
a Walmart with good vegetables. Like, I've been to Walmarts that have like rotten vegetables in certain areas,
It's harder
and
to
no
be
one's gonna want
vegan
to buy
there.
that. Yeah, it is. It would suck for them, and that's why, you don't see a lot of black people, especially like poor or lower class black people, that are vegan or vegetarian or even eat vegetables, because
Yeah.
they may only have access to frozen vegetables, or may not even have access to any of it. So that's
Yeah.
another thing that people don't even have any knowledge of, is that, they only have access to McDonald's and convenience stores, and that's all they eat because of that. But
Right.
there's a whole way that it's set up that way, that they don't have access to vegetables, which is shitty. And I'm glad that there's a lot of people coming out. They're starting their own farms, or starting their own like vegetable gardens, so that way they do have access to it. But even the state's coming in and ruining that for them. So there's just so much that people don't know, which I wish I could talk about all that I know, but I don't have time for that. It's like a 4 hour thing if we did that, but it's really just comes down to learning about it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, other than like literally being, how did you learn about all the other things?
Really, just my teacher really helped. She was very She was a very liberal teacher. She's passed away now, unfortunately, but she made students write about just their opinions on like police brutality, just to kind
Oh,
of get
wow.
them to at least think about it. She was the only teacher I've had that has ever actually celebrated Black History Month. Like the whole month we watch Black movies or like learn about something. I know we went to there's a place in Florida that was only like a Black settlement and the white people moved in. And she actually brought us there, and like she was the only person that's did that. So she
Wow.
really helped me, learn about my culture, and then being Black, obviously, but just learning about like food deserts, learning about just watching documentaries, reading books, stuff like that can help as well.
Yeah,
And
someone that
also
like
just
wanted to
talking,
make the extra effort to put a hand
yeah,
out there and show you the way. A
for,
mentor,
for
like an
sure.
actual mentor.
Yeah, talking to like older Black people has helped a lot too. From like the older generations, they've helped a lot as well to kind of put perspective on things, which is good. I mean, if you have someone in your life that is older and is Black, I would
Mm-hmm.
definitely reach out to and talk to them. Don't just go to like a random grocery store and talk to the older Black person about it. But if you do have that access to talk to the older Black person, they're very knowledgeable as well.
Yeah, have seen a lot and have
A
probably
lot.
seen like the phases of, like people caring, people forgetting, not caring as much anymore,
Yeah.
which I mean, I fear that's going to happen, that these people who are showing a lot of enthusiasm about really important topics now are going to, lose interest once it's not as a hot of a topic. And
And yeah.
eventually these things aren't going to progress to something positive. It's going to be something that just falls off the wagon, which is probably maybe why we haven't progressed as far in our government and our rules and our social adaptions, because it's something that people care about a lot to forget about, like.
Yeah. I agree, and a lot of political people use it as their advantage as well. So
Like, oh,
like
people will forget
locally,
about this, so we don't really have to make any
yeah.
changes.
So they'll use it to push it so people vote for them, but then when people actually vote for them and want change, especially Black people, they use it so Black people vote for them. And then when we vote for them, when they're actually in office, they don't do anything. And a lot of people use that as a target for people to vote for them. And then once they actually get in office, they don't do anything. So they definitely know what they're doing. They use that kind of as a trend to get people to vote for them, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. And a lot of people you'll see talk about it that you definitely know do not care about it. Like I know our governor in Kentucky, he talked about the whole Breonna Taylor and the person who got arrested and how it was unlawful and that, they
Okay.
should all been arrested. But like 2 weeks ago, he was all up the cop's butt saying that, he's going to back them and all this. So,
So he's a
you
flip
definitely,
flopper.
he's a flip flopper for sure. It was weird. It was like a bunch of people came on. There was like two Black people speaking about it. And like then he came on and was like, "Yeah, we're not doing this anymore." But then like literally not even a month ago, he was like approving of it. So it's weird, and he was like calling the military in and all this
He
stuff. So
was?
yeah,
Why was he calling the military in?
because people were really destroying Louisville
Oh,
after the Breonna Taylor
yeah.
situation. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
so
Oh, yeah.
that whole like just reading about it and talking to friends who were there, it was not a good place to be. Like people were getting shot by police, people were getting shot by bullets, pepper sprayed, like all sorts of stuff there. But um, I guess he called the military in or something, and now he's saying that that's not what we should be doing. Which if he is actually using that as we shouldn't have done that, then that's good. But I don't believe that at all.
Mm. I forget how close you are to that. That's insane.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm like an hour away from Louisville.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shit.
Which I wanted to go there, but I'm like, that's not the place that I should
I
be
kind
right
of
now.
worry.
I
I
don't
was
need to
going
be
to say
there.
that I kind of worry about your safety when it comes to like atmospheres like that. And like,
Yeah.
I try to think like if Javin like wanted to go to something like that, I would, or like he wanted to like go to like a riot or something, I'd be like, I would probably try to stop him. I wouldn't want him to be in an atmosphere that's dangerous like that.
Yeah. Well, when it happened in Cincinnati, and it didn't happen, but there was riots and stuff going on. I was gonna go. My girlfriend wanted to go, and I was like, you know what? We don't need to be at this place, like, because she didn't want me to go, and I don't want her to go, and I'm like, we don't need to go, like,
like you're both gonna go, and then you don't want her to go, and then she doesn't.
But
want
we don't want to go. Yeah. So I was like, we shouldn't be there,
and that's okay.
You know,
like you shouldn't feel bad either.
Yeah. And that's what when I see people like saying, "Well, why aren't you protesting?" Like, do you know what goes on there? Like, I don't think anybody. I mean, I appreciate anyone that does that actually goes there and is actually going there.
Of course, but it's not for everybody.
Exactly. I mean, there's so much things that can happen and go wrong there that people shouldn't put themselves in that position if they don't have to. I mean, if they obviously want to, then go for it. But you can get shot, you can get pepper sprayed, you can wake up in the hospital. Like
it's like war,
or in a prison cell. So I mean, like if that's not for everyone, that's just it is. Not everybody's accustomed to that, and they don't need to be in that situation if they don't have to be. So I don't agree with that whole calling protesters out for not going to protest or doing protests wrong. It's just ridiculous to me. But
yeah, that sucks because by you calling people out, it's like you're protesting wrong. That's not good.
Yeah, it's stupid.
We need to just stop calling people out. I don't like that anymore. I don't like it.
In literally every aspect. Like, just don't do it. I don't want to say that.
I mean, the one time that I really caught myself calling somebody out because I was upset in the moment, it's totally different from this, but it is like a call out thing. I felt really stupid about it later. Like, I was like, I wish I shouldn't have done that. It's so dumb. And I felt so immature after.
I feel like in some aspect, like in very little aspects, it is necessary though.
Like when is it okay?
Like I feel like if someone's like manipulating someone and they're like completely unaware of that, like I feel like you should call that person out. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
In like that aspect, but like just because someone like posted the N-word like 10 years ago, like
oh my god, yeah, I know, right? Because how many of you motherfuckers did that?
Everybody did. I've literally typed in people's name and then the N-word, and there's so many results.
I did that too.
Yes.
And I was like, oh my god.
I think it's funny. I don't care. Like, I mean, it's a different time. Everybody's done it.
It is. I don't really like judging people by like past stuff 10 years ago. I think anything that's like that was like the fashion almost. And it was like the humor.
Yeah, which is weird.
Even if it was really shitty, like that's what other people were doing. And like, don't call people out on that. Or like prove your wokeness by calling people out on that. That's cheesy.
Yeah. Now, if people are still doing that, though, like, I completely get that. But, like, if people did it 10 years ago, like, and that's 10 years ago. Don't ruin their whole career over that.
Yeah. Don't do it now. That's insane if you did it now. That's so fucking nutso.
People do, apparently. I don't know. I mean, I don't really keep out with call it culture. I think it's stupid. But I guess people still do it. I don't know. I don't know if it's from 10 years ago or now. But
I don't think people would dare to do it now. Don't you dare.
Not. It's too like PC now to do that kind of stuff. Like if you do that, you're just stupid. You're way too stupid if you do that now.
Yeah. The PC has been helpful and it has been hurtful.
Yeah. It's been very toxic too. It's been very weird too.
I think that's part of why a lot of this is driving you crazy.
I think it is. It's just like seeing people say the N-word 10 years ago and now they're super PC. Like, it's so funny to me.
It's whatever's cool, which is bad. Like, really care about it's serious. So it's not like a fucking shirt you put on and take off and be like, oh, I can't believe I wore that shirt 5 years ago. Like, this is serious shit, dude. And you need to take it seriously. If you're going to be an advocate, really be an advocate and don't do it for your image.
Yeah, I agree. And I there's so many different ways that people could be, doing things. Like you could just put something on your Instagram story that has like hotlines for, anyone that gets arrested or stuff like that. Like that's all you have to do. It's not hard.
Yeah. Actual links to go to help people who don't know how to support in a concrete way,
Yeah.
Hey, did you see that
Like, that's
article I
really all you
posted?
have to do.
Andre, did you see
Learn
that article?
yourself.
Did you see that article I
The
posted?
article? Oh, yeah, I did. I did see the article. You see the tattoo I got with BLM on it? It's a nice touch up.
Oh, that's very nice.
It's so stupid. I can't believe it.
Which
I
that
love showing like Tyler and them that because they completely die laughing because how ridiculous it is.
I mean, good intentions, but I don't know. I don't
It's
know.
weird.
I don't know.
It's super weird.
That is kind of funny.
I think they're both the same person too. Now that I think about it.
Really?
I think so.
I think that person's a good person. Don't get me wrong, but he could do more than message you like bragging about
Yeah.
that.
Well, the person, it's the other one. I
Oh.
don't know if they're necessarily a good person or not now, anyways. But back then when I knew them, they were not that great of a person. Truthfully.
Which wasn't that
Hopefully now
long
they
ago.
are.
We're talking
Yeah,
about it
that's what
like
I'm
it was
saying.
like 10 years ago. This was like just a few years ago.
I know this was like 2 or 4 years ago. So I mean, like, how much has changed within those, that span? Hopefully some, but
Yeah. I mean, I hope it's more than just a pressure to act a certain way. I feel like a lot of this is
yeah,
just a pressure to act a certain way and an obligation, and they don't really care about it. Which you need
yeah,
to really care and, like, behind the scenes actually do stuff.
I agree. And I mean, it really just comes down to you have to learn it yourself. Like, don't stop focusing on training people and teaching people things you don't know. Even when you do learn it, you still shouldn't be telling people what they're doing wrong. That's just not okay at all. Don't buy books that say how to be a better ally. That's weird too. Those are things if you've seen them.
Really?
Yeah, they're in
No.
books like I went to Barnes and Noble and like in the back when all this stuff started happening, there was like books on like how to be a better ally and like
Are they written by black
just
people?
I don't know. I doubt it. I hope so, but
I mean,
I
if,
saw it. I was like, this is weird. That was another part of me being angry too. Is just seeing that at Barnes and Noble. I was like, what is this?
like, all of a sudden, yeah.
Yeah, out of nowhere, it was just so weird. But yeah, I see people buying those books like all the time and like posting on their stories. I'm like, that's not it, man. Like, I kind of want to get it and see what's in it. But I mean, like, hopefully it is something in it that is like actually,
Yeah, I hope that it is
shows
written
people.
by
But
like actual black people, because that's the only way that I know how to be a better ally is to like actually ask black people that I know what they
yeah,
think of the situation, the surroundings, and what they actually want.
yeah,
Which
that's really what it comes down to.
is that annoying to you?
Not really. I mean, if people
Okay.
like ask me like, "Hey, what do you want out of this?" Man, like, yeah, that might be a little weird. But I mean, like.
You're like, what do you
People
mean?
come to me like they're like, "Hey, I just want to like talk to you about this." Like, that's cool with me. Like, my inbox is open for anyone that wants to do that. But people that are like weird or sending me like Black Lives Matter tattoos or stuff like that, don't do that because I will probably call you out.
What if
at
he
this
was
point.
like, hey, do you think that I should get this tattoo or should I not?
That's corny. No, don't. I think that's worse than showing me the tattoo. Wait, do you think this is a cool idea or no? I think that's a great idea.
Do you think this is
man.
cool, or would this really annoy you and make you really angry and take it out on your girlfriend? Oh my gosh. Hopefully people get on the right page. I think that they're just confused, though. A lot of, like,
Yeah.
even though that is, like, super corny and, like, you roll your eyes at it, I think that that person is just confused on how he is supposed to be a good ally with, social media and, like, all these people telling him what to do, He's probably like, oh, I should do this, and I should show this
Yeah.
person. I
And
don't
I
know.
completely get that, especially from where we're from. It's very racist area. If you're grown up with racist parents or whatever, like you're out by yourself now. You're learning all this stuff now. Like I get how it's confusing, but it's just weird. I don't know.
Oh, man, we're laughing a lot for talking about something so serious.
It's partially funny though. Not what we're talking about is funny, but the people.
The reactions of it, yeah.
Yeah, the reactions of certain people are funny and
Yeah.
ridiculous.
But do what you can and actually be a good ally, people. That's really the moral of the story, and like how to do it the correct way and how to do it the wrong way and how not to do that. Avoid it.
Yeah. Definitely learn more so to yourself and not what others are telling you, because you don't know where they're getting that news from. A lot of the news is not accurate information. So I would say just take it on yourself to go learn about it. Don't say, oh, well, this person told me that, and then run with that, because it's probably not true.
Yeah, or just maybe organically befriend more Black people.
That's definitely important too. Don't do it for like a weird
don't
thing,
make
though.
It weird. Do it organically. Don't make it weird. I don't know how I'm like instructing people to do that though. I'm probably implementing them to do it weird. Don't do it weird.
Yeah, don't go up towards Black people like, you want to be friends? Like, don't do that, you know? Like, go, I guess, like, get out of your comfort zone a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
Go to areas you wouldn't go to, join groups that you wouldn't usually join, stuff like that. Don't, like, go to, like, the hood and be like, hey, do you want to be friends? You want to hang out? Like,
yeah.
That probably won't go well for you either if you do that. So that's a warning. But
yeah, I have in my previous job, I have worked with more Black women than I ever have, which I think has been good for me, and you know, getting to know more of like how they see certain things happening, and I've gotten their opinions too on like the whole police brutality event and all of these things going on. It's really interesting to hear what they have to say about it. I've gone to like their family events and stuff where I was like the lightest person there, which was interesting. But I think doing stuff like that's really good as long as it's like accepted and you're not like, you know, forcing yourself in a situation weirdly and just like treating everybody the same, then it's fine. I feel like things like that are something that was like kind of more out of my comfort zone, but I mean, it was good for me, I think. And they never made me feel weird, like, oh, there's like this like little Asian girl here, you know?
Yeah.
Which I appreciated.
Yeah, usually they're not going to do that.
Yeah.
But I mean, just learning about other cultures, trying to dive into the culture, whether that be, you know, going to rap, you can go to rap shows. You can meet people that way, or stuff like that. Just, you know, go get out of your comfort zone and don't try to just go to the hood and be like, hey, do you want to smoke this blunt with me? Because that's not going to go well with you.
What? So. Yeah. Nah.
Just do it organically.
Yeah, there you go. Do we have any closing thoughts?
I did want to speak on the whole, like, defunding the police thing.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, abolish the police thing. I've noticed that being said a lot, too. The whole, like, abolish the police, which I don't, you know, think that's going to happen. And I think if it did, I don't think that would result in a good, which we talked about before, but
yeah, we were messaging last night, and I was like,
yeah,
I don't know if because I said the same thing to you. I was like, there's a lot of people being like, abolish the police, like, all cops are bastards and stuff. And I was like, I don't really know if, like, that's the right answer because, like, in reality, we have to have some form of structure and, like, police for, like, the actual bad things. I mean, if there wasn't police, if there weren't police and everyone was on the same level, the same kinds of people that are police are going to be out there doing what they want, maybe 10 times worse.
Yeah. And, you know, you have to think about all the people that back the police.
Yeah.
Like the kid that went to, was it in Wisconsin, I think?
Yeah.
Or Indiana, wherever it was. You know, he shot people, you know, because he was defending businesses from an area he wasn't even from.
That 17-year-old? He was like a kid, right?
Yeah, he was like 16, right? Or like 17 or something like that.
Yeah.
That's what you're going to see. But, you know, there's so many people that back the police. If that ever, it's not going to happen. But if it ever did happen, they're going to take things in their own hands. Like, even after the Hurricane Michael, like, you see people saying, like, don't loot or we'll shoot, you know? Like, that's what's going to come down to, and it's not going to be good at all, you know? But
yeah, people taking things into their own hands is equally scary. It's very scary.
I think it's even more, you know? It's even more scary, but, you know, defunding the police should definitely happen. I think they could put that towards fire departments. The fire department in Cincinnati, like, is so small that they've been saying that they're gonna make it bigger, and they haven't yet. So I mean,
What? These heroes,
like
these
that.
actual heroes? That's
That's what
crazy.
I'm saying. Like, they're actually, their whole job is to help people, and like EMTs or like nurses. Nurses don't have the right corona equipment with all this.
Oh
Their
my
funding
God,
hasn't been that
yeah.
well. Like there's way more things that we could be funding instead of giving like the police like tanks or riot gear stuff. And even if we took out like 20 million of their budget, that could go to other places.
Yeah, that's so much money that, what? They don't have fucking military tanks? Okay.
Yeah. On spring break on the beach, like
Shit. Yeah, that shit is scary as fuck. And that stuff needs to be taken away 100%, especially when it's proven
yeah.
time after time that they're using them in poor ways. They're not trained properly, whatever it is. They're using it wrong, and their privileges should definitely be revoked in a major way, but there has to be some sort of police type group, even if it's not the police, something that's police type to like help people. Like, there's this thing where like the grocery buggy rule, like, you know how like in a parking lot, you have like a buggy and you're like, no, 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 no. And then there's
hmm
like these stations that you're supposed to like put the buggy away. It's
yeah.
like a rule that shows like the possibility of like how people can govern themselves and if they could like responsibly do that. And like it's like comparing the people who could govern themselves to people that actually put their buggies away in like an organized setting where they belong, as opposed to the people who like leave their buggies all around the parking
Yeah.
lot and the way of the cars, in the parking spots
Yeah.
that are just like not helpful to anybody. Like that
Yeah.
is a small example of like governing yourself and like what people would do. Like, yeah, some people are going to do the right thing, and then some people, because they don't technically have to, they're going to do whatever, and it's going to fuck up the whole
Yeah.
parking lot.
Which is terrible. Which, as someone who did cards, if you do that, you're a piece of shit. That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh, you did carts, dude? You know exactly what I'm
Yeah, I
talking
used to
about.
do it. It's terrible. Like, if you're
Yeah.
handicapped, I give you the pass. But if you're not, like, you're just terrible. You suck.
I always put it back. I
I
always
did too.
do.
I try to, or I put it back like where I got it from. But like
Yeah.
leaving it in the middle of the parking lot, man.
Yeah. I can govern myself. Sure. You could govern yourself. Sure. But like that kid in Kenosha who is shooting people, who is like trying to like support the police. No, he
Yeah,
can't.
yeah,
He has to be stopped. There are still
exactly.
people that need to be stopped. So
And like
I
people
don't know.
back that too. Like people are like, he was there with good intentions. They wholeheartedly think that, which is like bonkers to me. That someone with like, didn't he have like a rifle or something?
Yeah.
They just thought that he was there to protect a business and
And
not
his
cause any
mom,
trouble.
like, he's a minor. His mom, like, gave him the okay to go.
It's so weird. Can you imagine asking your parents that? That's like, like I remember asking
No.
my mom to drop me off at a show. Like,
I know, right? Yeah, seriously. You want to do more than one thing this weekend? No, you're not.
that's crazy.
That's insane.
That's,
Yeah, I don't know.
that's enough to
God.
show it's not okay. Ask yourself, would you ask your parents that?
Oh, my God.
That's so crazy to
What's
think
happening to
about.
that kid now? Do you have any idea? I'm not really sure.
I think he got charged for it, if I'm
Okay.
not mistaken. I don't know. There was like so much like we might not. I don't know what actually happened.
Always. It's clear cut to me.
Yeah.
But whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah. I don't know, though, the right answer. At the same time of me not feeling like that's the right answer, I don't know what the right answer is. I don't know how we will ever, like, get to a good place with this. I really don't. It's very
Yeah.
sad.
I mean, as people, I think we can be as better as, we can be, but it really just comes down to all the institutions that are in place. Until those are get rid of and people get rid of that, it's not going to get any better. Until the government, That's really what it comes down to is the government and the institutions in place, like ICE, for example. That
Oh,
keeps Spanish
fuck,
people down,
yeah.
that keeps, immigrants down. But until that's around, it's going to happen, and it's a much bigger scale on that with black people, but that's kind of gives people an idea of what really needs to be done in order to change things. And until that's done with every little single aspect, unfortunately, it's going to be the same place. It's so much harder for, a black person to become a businessman from the hood than a white person from a trailer to become a businessman, and that's just truth because all the stuff that's in place to keep them down, unfortunately.
Yeah. Which is definitely concrete, for sure, factual. It's not.
Yeah, it's the facts, there's facts backing that, but it's just, there's so much that people have to learn. I think they really just need to come down and learn that themselves, but yeah.
Yeah. I think just like let's take one step at a time and focus on what you personally can do now to be helpful. That has to
Yeah.
do with you only, not other
Yeah.
people, what other people are doing. What you could
And for
do to be helpful.
people that genuinely want to be allies, I don't want them to focus so much on are they being a good person, because I feel like that's a lot of the mindset that a lot of people have had is, am I being good? Am I doing something good? Like, if you genuinely think that you're doing something good, I promise you're probably doing something good majority of the time. I think there's so many people that are so focused on if they're doing the right thing, then actually coming to terms with the fact that they are doing something good. And I think that's something that needs to be spoken about too.
Yeah. And I want to focus on the people too that like need help. Instead of just
There's a
like
lot.
focusing on the people that are doing bad stuff, like let's focus on the people
Yeah.
that like actually need the help in whatever way we
Yeah.
can, whether it's super small of just like checking in on somebody.
Yeah. Which that can go a long way on both sides.
Yeah.
Like, people checked on me during all this, and I'm like, wow, that shows that black people are valid to some people. Like, that's all some people need. And I think, like, after this, I'm going to message and be like, yo, I just, I've been thinking about you, but stuff like that, like, is all you really have to do. And, just talk to more black people, talk to especially older black people, if you can do that, they're very, very, knowledgeable about all this. And, it's crazy. Like, I've spoke to people that were like alive during like the Rodney King situation, or like even before that, like, what I mean? Like when slavery was basically still around, like, and
Mm-hmm.
it's crazy hearing that perspective. And it really, you know, teaches you like, hey, this actually happened and how bad it actually was. And if you do have that, person that you can talk to, I would definitely suggest just being like, hey, like, I know you're alive in this time. I would like to talk to you about that. And that can go a long way too.
Yeah. And like you said, like it's really interesting. It does directly make them feel validated. Like you're
Yeah.
actually interested in what they have to say.
Yeah.
And it's personal. It's super personal.
It's very personal.
I think a lot of
And don't be
people are.
weird about it.
Well, yeah. Yeah. Whatever you do, don't make it weird, dude. Don't.
Don't be weird about it. You gotta at least know the person if you're gonna go on that level. Like, don't just go to
Yeah.
Walmart and be like, "Hey, slavery, you were alive during that? Let's talk about it." Don't do that. 'Cause
Yeah,
it's
you look like
weird.
you were alive during slavery. Can I talk to you?
Like, are you over the age of 80? Let's talk. Don't do that.
Yeah. I just think a lot of people are like super hyper focused on things that are like too big of a picture, and it's like they can't really reach it. So you're never going to
Yeah.
get there. Like you got to start small first, for sure.
I agree with that too, and I definitely have that issue with myself. I think it's like, I feel like it's not going to change, but it could happen, and a lot of people are fixated on that, especially black people right now. I've seen a lot of people on Twitter like, I'm just going to stop caring, and that's not going to get us anywhere if we do
No.
that. And it's sad, but I get it, but we can't stop going for the goal. Like, even if it's my kid or whatever, I want them to at least have a better life than I had or my dad had or whoever had.
Yeah. That's sad. I don't want people to give up on it.
Yeah, it is sad. Which I've seen a lot of people saying that after the Breonna Taylor incident happened, which is, I mean, it's sad, but I completely get it.
Yeah, I think people just want to see things change, and I do too. You do too.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to.
Just be progressive, actually progressive.
Don't result to violence. If you're going to protest, please don't damage things. Don't hit anybody. Don't do any of that because it's not going to end up well for anyone.
Yeah. I want everybody to be safe. I want everyone to be educated. Safe. I want everyone to seek out the right education and not get persuaded by the social pressure.
Yeah, definitely. Don't post pictures of you at protests.
Yeah.
I've seen it so many times. I couldn't believe it.
Oh, God. Yeah. Don't make it about you.
Weird.
Don't make it about you when it's not. The thing that you're talking about is not about you.
Yeah.
So don't make it about you.
That's a good closing.
Okay.
That's a good closing.
Yeah, I agree. I appreciate you coming and like wanting to talk about this with me specifically.
Of course.
I'm glad that I know you. My life is better because I know you and because I talk to you and because you reciprocate in talking to me.
Yeah. I mean, that's the way to do it, you know?
Yeah.
And if anyone wants to talk to me about it, they're more than welcome to. You can, I think it's AWALFL_. You can message me on there and I'll happily talk to you about it.
Yeah.
Or add me on Facebook or whatever.
He is a very interesting, cool, hip individual.
Yep.
Do you have anything else to plug?
My brand, if you want to support that, it's just basically like musical, movie, video game stuff. It's Mask of Truth Printing on Instagram. Funtime Wallace on Instagram is my gaming page. Really, that's it. But
that's awesome. Are you still doing the YouTube stuff?
Not really, no. It was more of like a coping thing for my depression I used, but I do it every now and then. Yeah, that's really the only reason I used it was to be like, I'm depressed, so I'm gonna make YouTube videos.
So
it works though.
If I see you making YouTube videos, I should be worried?
No.
Okay.
No.
Well, if you bring it back in a more positive light, then I'll make sure that you're okay first, and then I'll be very happy about it.
Usually I am fine when I enjoy making them, but at that time, that was the reason I did it. I'm fine now.
Yeah, I know. You told me that before.
Yeah, I'm good now. I just do it it's fun to me.
I'm glad you're fine.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andre, for being my friend and being a guest here today and helping not only me, but all of our listeners who have engaged in